and welcome back to this week's episode of Thinking Out Loud. I am your host, Adriana, and on today's episode, we're going to do things a little bit differently. It's more of a get ready with me, and I'm talking about the movie Soul, which is a new Pixar film, and I'm reviewing or commenting on the movie Wonder Woman as well. Both of these I feel gave me really great insight and little lessons that I want to carry on for the year. So if you're interested to know what my thoughts were on those videos, continue watching. And if you don't, well, I got more episodes you can watch. We shall start off today with, well, this isn't a beauty YouTube channel, so you're just gonna watch me paint my face today. So let's get into it. Let's see, where do we start? 2021, wow, it's day 8. We've already seen people, the Trumpers, not even regular people, right? Because the Trumpers go crazy at the White House. So that, I mean, I don't really have comments besides their nut jobs, and we have to look out for one another when it comes to people like that. Okay, I'm going to start off with the movie Soul. Wow, if you guys haven't watched it, 11 out of 10 recommend. I watched it twice. The first time I fell asleep towards the end, but that's just because I'm horrible with staying up during movies. But I had to watch it a second time, and what I learned from this movie was just absolutely... Where do I start? Okay, first of all, the movie. Talking about how we don't really... Actually, no. The whole gist of the movie is, even if you have your purpose, even if you have your... even if you think you have your passion, right? You don't necessarily have to... That's not the purpose of your life, which I thought was exactly what I needed to hear this year, especially because, I mean, what do I talk about on this channel? Personal development, finding ways to become close, finding ways to get closer to the person we actually want to be, right? So for me, that was such a great movie because it was just a reminder that the purpose of us, like, being alive is to enjoy life, to live it, to experience all of it, the good and the bad. I'm someone who, I think I've mentioned before, I absolutely don't like being sad. I don't think anyone enjoys being sad. Actually, that's wrong. Some people do actually like being sad and going like allowing their minds to take them into like dark areas for creativity and, you know, cool. I mean, people know how to channel their emotions a little differently. I hate the feeling of being sad. I hate feeling nostalgic. I hate just down feelings. But that's just part of life. That's something that I had to learn really, that was the biggest lesson of last year, where it's like I had to learn to feel the bad and the hurtful things because I was living in denial of bad situations, where I just wasn't allowing myself to process and heal from things because I was avoiding those negative feelings at all costs. So lesson number 1, this movie has taught us that that the point of living is to live our lives, enjoy them. There's many scenes where the character gets really silly, and he just looks, from one perspective of the movie, he looks at it like, what are you doing? You're just kind of making yourself look like a fool. And then in hindsight, he like looks at himself and he's like, wow, like I was just living and enjoying the simple joys of life, right? Once another great like little lesson that they just quickly threw in there, and then to me, I think that was my favorite lesson, was when one of the characters is like, this is kind of like their interpretation of heaven, I think. And what they did was that they talked, one of them says, oh, you mentors and your purposes and your purpose and passions, so basic, right? And I was like, basic mentors, like how interesting that they would say that mentors are always telling you to find your purpose and to like go after your passions in life and turning your passion into your purpose, right? And I think that's what we hear in like mainstream media. I think that's what has so many of us messed up, of like trying to find what our purpose is and then finding a way to have that be the thing that makes us money. So when in the movie they were like, oh, like so basic, to me I'm like, basic, like that is a very, I guess you could say, basic way of thinking, because I don't think a lot of us, it's mainstream media has allowed us to think that whatever makes us happy, that has to be the thing that makes us money, right? And some people, I'm going to include myself in this one, it's like some people don't want to turn their passions or their into what makes them their money. Like I would consider myself a creative person. However, I've always felt like my creative limitations came from the moment where I tried to monetize my creativity and tried to turn my creative self into my stream of income, right? So that for me, that was a huge block for a very long time, because I just would always think, I don't want to lose my love for what I do because now there's like a dollar sign attached to it. There's actually something other than myself giving it value. So to me, that was always kind of really scary. So to hear it in the Pixar movie, and obviously maybe this movie was targeted towards our older generation because they know that the older folks are also on Disney Plus. But I think the fact that kids are going to be able to watch that at such an early age and get a different message than what so many of us got growing up. Like for the girls, it was like this fairy tale life, right? Or this fairy tale dream. For the boys, it was, they don't have to be like the superheroes at the end of the day every single time. I thought that was like a really great message that the kids are going to be receiving. So I loved that. Second little lesson that I got from this movie was just how you could be so deep, like so obsessed with your passions or what the thing that makes you happy, you know? And maybe we all know, maybe some of us know someone who we know has their thing and they go all in for their one thing, right? But what the movie showed us is that people who are very, to the point of it being an obsession, right? And I think the movie tries to depict it as like an unhealthy obsession with this one thing, is equivalent to being depressed, because when you're so hyper focused on one thing, you lose touch of the other things in life that matter. And I think that was the biggest message of the movie. It's like, you can have your passions, you can have things that you enjoy to do, but don't let it consume you. Like, you're not this one-dimensional person that was born to only do this one thing. In the movie, for example, the guy was a pianist, right? And he was a jazz musician. So that was his thing. That was his reason for living. And I think what the movie's trying to tell us is, no, like, you're not this one-dimensional individual. You're not this person who was only brought into this world for this one thing. Like, you're brought into this world to live, and to enjoy your life, all parts of it, the good and the bad and all the ugly and the in-between pieces, right? So sorry, I'm like figuring out what concealer I'm gonna wear. So I just thought that was such a good movie. And then moving on to, I'm trying to think if I missed something from that movie that I learned and I can't think of right now. The biggest one of the bigger lessons too, because that was kind of like the peak of the movie, was, okay, let's say you reach your dreams and you're so hyper obsessed with these dreams. but you're not letting yourself start enjoying your life until you reach those dreams, because you don't think that life is like the life you're living right now isn't living until you've already met those dreams, right? So I think that's more of a cliche lesson, but one that people forget very often, which is live your life and enjoy it every single day, because our days, they're not going to be extraordinary every single day. And I actually picked that one up from someone I watched on YouTube this week. They were like, what did they say? Like, oh, one of the lessons that they had learned was that not every single day of our life is going to be extraordinary. Like, a lot of our days are going to be very ordinary, but sometimes those ordinary days will have extraordinary memories, or emotions that we felt in that specific day that we will hold on to. Let's see. Okay, next movie, and keep in mind, I'm doing this because I don't typically watch movies. Like I said, I fall asleep with movies really easily, and it's been a long time since I've actually been interested in watching a movie, because I know I have the attention span of a squirrel. I think Instagram, TikTok, and all the new TV series that we have for this, because when I was younger, I was obsessed with movies. I used to like watching critically acclaimed movies, because I'd like to understand what made it like critically acclaimed. Like, was it the visuals? Was it the script? Like, what was it, the storyline? Was it the actors? I loved dissecting movies in that way. And then suddenly I just kind of got bored of movies. I just couldn't keep up with the storyline because I would get too bored. So I was really excited that I enjoyed these movies so much. Second movie was Wonder Woman, and wow, just as I was waving my white flag and surrendering my, I can't even say it because YouTube demonetized it. It's called the feminist movement. You know what I'm talking about. I had decided that this year I am surrendering that flag. That is no longer a cause I am fighting for, because I no longer think women are as oppressed as we like to believe that we are. But I'll go into that one on a different video. Wonder Woman, spectacular movie. I wish there was more female superheroes in mainstream media. I mean, maybe there are. I just don't watch comic movies or comic book movies, Marvel movies, superhero movies enough. So, send them my way if you know of more superhero movies, because I love me a heroine. I don't know. But Wonder Woman, wow, where do I start? The two biggest lessons from this movie was, don't wish for something like there's, I don't know, how do I say it? Stop wishing for what other people have and start paying attention to what you do have, because trust me, some people want your blessing. Some people are wishing they had what you had. Wow. Someone wants your life, really, like in all actuality, somebody wants your life, because your situation is a lot better than somebody else's situation, and maybe something that you desire from somebody else, because you're overlooking your own qualities and your own your own magic. Somebody else is looking at you, admiring you, wishing they had your traits, right? So in the movie, there's like the lead character, which is Wonder Woman, and then there's the supporting character, which I forgot her name, which is this is the point of the movie, that she felt very forgotten, this character. And I think her name, I have no idea what her name was. But in the movie, this character felt very overlooked and very forgotten. So eventually she turned into the supervillain. And when she turned into the supervillain, she turned into the supervillain because she wanted to be like Wonder Woman, and all Wonder Woman wanted to be was more like this this other character, because she just viewed this other character as such like a sweet person, someone that was liked and very personable, and all this other person or the other character saw was how admired and desired Wonder Woman was by all these men, and how she was cool and aesthetically, like she was this the powder messed me up. And the other character just was paying attention to how other people admired and wanted to have access to Wonder Woman. Before, I mean, the whole time they don't know that she's Wonder Woman, right? So the whole point of the movie is that this one guy got hands of like this magical rock. He grants everybody their wish, and pretty much everybody can wish for what they want. But what they don't realize is that when they get what they want, it comes at a price. Everything in this life has a price. And you were pretty much getting your wish granted at the expense of somebody else. Well, the way the movie was trying to show it is like what you want and getting what you want now kind of messes up the balance of how everything's working together, right? And that's another one of the big messages that the movie was trying to tell us, is that we're all interconnected, right? We can't all be Wonder Woman. Like I said before, we can't all be Beyonce. We can't all be Kobe. We can't all be the greats that ever lived, because one, that devalues the greats that ever lived, and two, we don't need that many of them. Otherwise, they lose their value. They lose what makes them, that spark, right? But that's not to say that you don't have your own spark. That's not to say that you don't have your own qualities that influence and make other people around you brighten their lives, right? Just because you're not the greatest doesn't mean you're not inspiring somebody on a daily basis. So that was another one of the messages. And the final message, which came as part of like Wonder Woman's superpowers, but it was also a lesson that Wonder Woman had to learn herself, was that the truth is just the truth shall set you free. And it was a lesson that even Wonder Woman had to learn, because in the movie, people rather lie to themselves that this is what they want, that this is what's making them happy, rather than accepting what they do have. Rather than accepting what they do have and counting and acknowledging that they already are blessed, that they don't need more, that maybe wanting more does in fact make you greedy. Okay, so if you made it all the way to the end, this was my final result. For anyone who cared about my makeup, this is just like my everyday makeup in reality. And I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comment box below if you like me reviewing content like this. I am taking it upon myself this year to consume much more art, let it inspire me, and just see what I can learn, because like we all know on this channel, I like to take inspiration and lessons from the world around me every single day, okay? Thank you guys again for watching. This is Thinking Out Loud, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.